So, Arianism to Islam. Now, the earliest Gnostic faith that is well known to the church was Arianism, because Arianism threatened to tear the church apart in the early days.
Hmm.
Right? Arianism is the reason that we had the Nicene Creed and the Council of Nicaea. No matter what others might tell you, the reason for the Nicene Creed and for the Council of Nicaea was specifically due to a heresy, a Gnostic heresy called Arianism. It also speaks about man and the purpose of life, and Gnostics do tend to focus on the inner life of the spirit,
Hmm.
which they differentiate from the material life. Think of the term, I identify as. You see,
I've never heard that before. What do you mean identify as?
wokeness is Gnostic,
Yeah.
right? So a couple of questions. Someone asked, is Nag Hammadi close to Mecca? If someone can find out what the distance is, check on Google Earth or something, or Google Maps. Find out what the distance is. That'll be interesting. Yeah, Nag Hammadi obviously is the major find of Gnostic texts, because prior to that, most of the Gnostic beliefs were the ideas were found in the writings of early church fathers and others who wrote about them. But a cache of major Gnostic texts was found in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, and thus these Gnostic ideas made their way back into the Western world, and the whole heresy revived itself and became Debit. I'll get into the monad, we'll get into all of that. Someone asked me, is Sufism the real Islam? Yes. Sufism is the complete expression of Islam. It is not just the following the law of Allah, obeying His will, it is also following, or rather knowing the character of Allah, contemplating the nature of Allah. I'll get into that. So Gnosticism is the cult of special knowledge. It comes from the Greek word the gnosis, or knowledge. Now, let's consider the strong overlap here with Allah. We're going to be talking about this. Gnosticism has a belief in a remote, supreme, absolute one deity called the monad. This is the Gnostic supreme deity, the supreme God, right? So Allah happens to be a remote, supreme, absolute one deity. Am I correct, AT?
Yes, yes, completely incapable of entering into his own creation, even though he enters into his own creation on multiple occasions.
Well, they'll explain that away for us. But so there's no differentiation in the monad, and there is no differentiation in Allah, right? The monad is beyond human thought, and human thoughts cannot reach it. It is beyond comprehension. This is precisely what Islamic scholars claim about Allah. There is no difference here, right? Let's continue. So, similarities with Allah, page 2. The divine monad is beyond the material and the rational world. Now, ask yourself, why doesn't Allah enter into the physical realm? Why doesn't Allah come to earth? Because Allah does not enter into the filth of creation, right? And I'm going to get into the story, but briefly speaking, the monad creates, right? The monad creates other beings, lesser beings, and one of these lesser beings, an evil lesser being, created the world. The world is made of matter. He that
Wait a second. Playing with children is a disgusting thing.
Yes.
I thought the best of mankind played with a little child's dolls.
Yeah, well, Islam wasn't meant to make sense, okay?
Okay,
The
right.
Yeah, the Church of Nicaea is now a mosque. Now that is very sad, I know. Now, of course, Arianism undermined the Christian concept of redemption, since only one who is truly God could be deemed to reconcile humanity to the Godhead. So in other words, this removed the ability for Christ to redeem you. Right.
Yep.
So this was obviously a major problem doctrinally.
Debit said something along the lines of, there's so many heresies.
Yeah.
And I think this strengthens the fact that Christianity is the one true religion. And the reason why I say that is because if it were something totally obscure that was not able to bring about salvation, Satan would not try to replicate it in so many different ways, right?
Basically, he took a bunch of stuff, dumped it in a bowl, mixed it up, pooped into the bowl, mashed it up again, and there you go, Islam. Your thoughts, 18?
Well, Dragon said something very, very profound here. She just said, in Islam, you're a slave of Allah. In Christianity, you become a child of God. And I don't
Very,
think you could sum it up any better than that.
yeah. Yes, well said.
That's
Yeah.
that's what I've done with Muslims in the past. Not that you have to do that, but I've just found it to be a lot easier to just define terms from the get-go.
Yep. Now, notice again from the Sharia. Whoever travels a path seeking knowledge, Allah makes easy for him a path to paradise. What kind of knowledge? Gnostic knowledge? Maybe. Angels lower their wings for the seeker of knowledge. Those in the heavens and the earth and the very fish in the water ask Allah to forgive the person endowed with sacred knowledge. Notice if you read the Gospel of Thomas, which has just coincidentally 114 sayings of the Gnostic Jesus. Sheer coincidence. And one of them speaks of the fish in the water, but then, hey, just, I have no idea. Muhammad didn't make up anything. He was never a plagiarist.
Yep.
The superiority of the learned Muslim over the devotee is like the superiority of the moon over all the stars. The learned are the heirs of the prophets. The prophets have not bequeathed dinar, which is money, nor dirham, money, but have left sacred knowledge, and whoever takes it has an enormous share. Now we talk about knowledge. So this world and what is in it are accursed, except for the remembrance of Allah and someone with sacred knowledge, or someone learning sacred knowledge. The world is evil. The world is accursed. Debit Rice says, take beer. I know.
Take beer.
You know what's crazy? You go to the Middle East, and I've traveled all over the Middle East, and everywhere you go, they have fake bacon, turkey bacon, and you're like, if you guys want bacon, just eat it, please.
You don't know what you're missing, guys.
And you're like, you know what? I take bacon. Look, as you guys know, bacon is a vaccine specially invented against Islam.
That's
okay.
Yeah, that'll. You know what? Honestly, I feel like all this polemics and apologetics that we do, it's not as powerful as the taste of bacon to get someone to turn away from Islam.
I recognized him from the seal of prophethood, which lies like an apple on the soft bone below his shoulders. It is mentioned in our scriptures.
Seriously, we don't even have to write jokes. We can just read this.
I know. This is what they teach. This is what they teach in the mosques. This is what they teach in the madrasas. Understand? Islam is the final religion that Allah will never lessen or abrogate. So Christianity and Judaism are abrogated. They've been replaced, and we are remnant cults that refuse to worship behind Muhammad. Because as you know, when Jesus comes back, Jesus will worship behind Muhammad. And so Islam is very militant Gnosticism. Done. I'm done. I'll leave it to you, AT.